So you walk into a shop, you want to pick yourself up a new smartphone, but you don't want one of these giant Androids because you've kind of got smaller, dainty hands, less like monkey hands like mine. So you walk in, you see these two phones. You see the Samsung Galaxy S5 Mini and the Sony Z3 Compact. You think, hey, they look pretty cool, nice looking phones, Sony, Samsung, these are well-known brands. Let's take a look. Same size sort of screen, they both got interesting designs. That looks nice, feels nice too. Ooh, this is nice and glass. Maybe these are the same kind of phones. Well, you would be mistaken for thinking that. If you're looking at a spec sheet and you don't really know what you're looking at, you may think that these are both two small phones with the same kinds of things going on inside, but you couldn't be further from the truth. The difference is, of course, that with the S5 Mini, Samsung has watered down the entire S5 experience. So while you get the same TouchWiz interface, everything looks kind of the same. Maybe you'll think, oh, well, this is kind of the same as the flagship. Everything looks pretty good to me. The problem is that all the internals behind that are not really there to back you up. So while you get some great features from the flagship, like the finger scanner and of course the heart rate monitor on the back, whether you like those or not, they're actually on here, which is pretty exciting. The difference is that as far as the specs go, everything is a long shot from the original flagship. You'll get a much lower resolution camera, slower processor, less RAM, and that kind of thing. Whereas with the Z3 Compact, it's all in the name really. It's a compact version of the flagship. It's not watered down in terms of specs at all. For example, the camera on the back is a 20.7 megapixel shooter. That's exactly the same one that you'll find on the flagship Z3. So they may be around the same size, and you'll look at the spec sheet and see interesting things like water resistancy. So we have IP68 rated on the Z3 Compact and IP67. So what does that actually mean? Basically it means they're both dustproof, so that's great. However, the Z3 Compact can be left underwater continuously in fresh water for up to about 2 hours, whereas the S5 Mini is really only water resistant. Theoretically half an hour under 1 meter of water, but you really wouldn't want to push your luck with that. Of course, both devices have their own unique features. We've got the dedicated camera shutter button here, plus the Sony OmniBalance design with the power button that everybody knows. And of course we have our water resistant flaps, if I can pop them open, for microSD, SIM card, charging port, all that kind of stuff. But obviously the water resistancy rating on the Z3 Compact is better than on the S5 Mini. But on the S5 Mini, of course, you can pop the back panel off to get to the replaceable battery, which you can't on the Z3 Compact. Now, other than processor, of course, the major difference between these two phones is the camera. So we have 20.7 megapixel and 8 megapixel. Of course, Sony cameras are always fantastic, and the Samsung cameras are no slouch either. But if we take a look, we'll have all the full resolution versions of these photos for you in the description below, so you can take a look. So you can see the Samsung performs pretty nicely. The Sony, of course, has it completely trumped when it comes to megapixel count. And for the first time ever, for me, I've noticed that the S5 Mini camera doesn't seem to be quite as contrasty as normal. Up close, they both handle things okay, although the focus wasn't quite so great. Outside, again, things are a little bit blue here, a little bit yellow here. Neither of those is particularly accurate, but we'll have the full photos for you. Low resolution. The Z3 Compact has an ISO setting of 12,800, and obviously it completely destroys the S5 Mini. All these photos are taken on Superior Auto. These are all done on Auto as well. However, the Z3 obviously handles changes a lot better than the S5 Mini. Colours are pretty good. I'd probably say the S5 has slightly weird yellows going on, but again, you can see that on the full-size versions on your computer later on. Otherwise, all things are pretty similar. Colour reproduction's not too bad in sort of slightly murky light. Outside, in a kind of an overcast day, things are all looking pretty much as you'd expect, although again, the S5's a little bit tweaked in ways that I don't particularly like. Then we get to here. We get a much punchier black and white kind of high contrast thing going on in a dim room lit with bright windows, and the Z3 Compact is doing a little bit of a weird washed out thing. So of course the Z3 Compact completely destroys the S5 Mini in terms of megapixel count, and you'll have to take a look at the camera results yourself to see which one you prefer. But the important thing to note is that while on the outside these may look like they could be similar kinds of phones, the important thing is the Z3 Compact is a flagship on the inside. That's exactly what it is. It's all the same as you get in the full-size Z3, but the S5 Mini is really just aspiring to look like the flagship Galaxy S5. So while it has the same kind of styling and some of the same great features like the finger scanner and the heart rate monitor, it's just not really there. Obviously the processor is much worse, the camera is much weaker. You will get the same software experience, which may be all you're after, but don't be fooled by appearances, guys. If you want the fastest, smallest Android in town, you want to hook yourself up with the Z3 Compact.